All right, good morning, good evening, good night. Welcome into NFT Live on the Web3 Network. We are going to have ourselves a good episode, not talking about any blur airdrops that we claim, but other people claim the airdrop. I want to know, did you claim the stimmy? This is not a recorded episode in the chat, at least. I'll turn the chat off. I'm with Gifted. I'm with Biggie Poppins. No Ronan the Collector today. He had a quick family emergency. Maybe he'll pop in later in the episode, so I'm a little sad. Gif, how are you doing today, brother? And then we will get to Biggie.
I'm great, other than Ronan not going to be here. That's always sad. But you know what? We got this guy. We got this guy right here, and that's enough. We got Biggie Poppins, so it's going to be great. Look, another awesome conversation this morning on GM Web3. I have to say, I was really impressed with you, NiftyQ, today, actually showing up. You know, it's not every day NiftyQ actually shows up for GM Web3 to have a deep convo. But you really got into it today, man. I appreciate that.
Okay, I'm there every day, but I get it.
You and Andy James had quite a back and forth about all the FUD, all the SEC policy. I'm giving you a little bit of a hard time, but usually he does use that time to work on other things. But he really got into the combo today, so I'm just giving you appreciation.
This NFT Live doesn't just spring out of the well. It just doesn't spring out of the ground for us here. Things need to be set up. Good to see you guys in the house. Squash Man, Don R, best you in the family, Ronan, our vibe, our tribe. Hash Rhymes, I see you. Squash Man, we got you. Speaking of FUD, I don't think that we made the right call on this bet. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm the only person that went on the over ETH. Biggie, what was your bet?
It was under. I recall it was under. I don't know. Probably like I was still a little bullish. I might have said like 0.5 to 0.7 or something. So, hey, it can still happen.
It can. Wait, no, I don't think it can because we said like Wednesday at 1 p.m.
Yeah.
So
I mean, hey, it's still 10 a.m. here on the west side. So you know what? Give it a couple more hours. Maybe it'll hit that 1 ETH floor. Either way, I'm making good calls on Chungos across the board. I got in early at 0.03, and then I said it wouldn't hit 1 ETH by today. I mean, when you're right, you're right. That's all we got to say on that one.
No bet was made regarding any dirty fiat or anything like that. It's just respect. So thank God. Yeah, I agree. Biggie, what's up, my man? Nice. Wait, you started without the Moonbird hat.
Yeah, I noticed it a little too late, and then I saw you guys all with your hats, and I was like, well, what the fuck? Where's mine? And so,
yeah, it just wouldn't be the same without Biggie and his Moonbirds hat. I wouldn't feel right about starting the episode any other way.
Yes, sir.
All right, we will get to today's episode here in just a second. A couple quick housekeeping items. Of course, we've got ETH Denver. That we will touch on here in just a second. But please, before we get to this post and these giveaways that are still ongoing, folks, please leave a like on today's video. If you're on Twitter, if you're on Twitch, if you're listening afterwards, we appreciate y'all. And it does help us get the word out about what we're doing here on the Web3 Network. I've got Denver.
Man.
How
you guys have me so psyched about this for you, and at the same time, just getting massive amounts of FOMO that I will not be there to partake, but it looks really, really cool. I love the lineup, man. The people involved. We got lots of family, like just frequent guests, and then I see a gift that snuck in some Chungo action there too, which I would have loved to hang out with a bunch of Chungos and my Chungo whale buddy. It looks like it's going to be a great time, man.
Yes. Chungo's Mansion Party. I'm actually working to get them on the show next week to talk about all this. And that is the big giveaway. This is live right now. It goes until the 24th. So you have time, but make sure to get in while you can. This is live right now at the website, which is w3b3.life. Can we throw up that QR code action? I saw you experimenting with that a little bit yesterday, Q.
Got the mini QR up in the top left.
Is there a capacity, I imagine, in this Web3 mansion shebang that you're doing?
What is the
maximum amount of people? Yeah.
So there's two venues. This is what's crazy. We've never done multiple venues for an event. So for the Marijuana Mansion, which we have for 5 days in Denver, yeah, it's gonna be crazy. So for that place, the max capacity is like 175 to 200 maybe, and it's all split. It's like a big house with 3 different floors, and there's a little bit of an outside area too. But yeah, I think that one's around like 175 people or something. But yeah, Chungo's mansion party at the Marijuana Mansion in Denver, I think promises to be one of the more interesting events. Let's put it that way.
Blur or Don R saying Blur seems to be killing it. Squashman saying Chungos reminds me of that scene in Dumbo where he keeps whispering Dumbo in his ear, except it's Chungos. I've already allotted my full quota of Chungos talk here on today's episode, so hopefully we don't get too far into it. Again, we didn't hit 1 ETH. I thought there was some momentum there. I really did. There was a lot of like just organic kind of feeling, energy, if you will, around Chungos. I expected them to at least hit a 0.5, but that's not to say that they can't here in the future here.
Q, the saying is don't fade the Chungos. I'm just saying, don't fade the Chungos. It's still very early, and they're holding well.
With a slogan like that, how can you go wrong?
Exactly. It's brilliant. But no, I'm excited to hopefully get to bring them on the show and actually learn a little bit more about the founders. I've only had a brief conversation with them so far in Discord. We did hop on a short call, and I know at least one of them can make it to Denver. One of them can't because of like some other medical, they've got some appointments that are unfortunately happening at the same time. But one of the main founders will definitely be making it to Denver, and so they will be doxing themselves there. At least, so
do they have anything planned, GIF? Like kind of like the Goblins did in NFT NYC. It seems like an opportune moment to go all chungoed out,
to hire some actors to create some cringe.
We're already getting the Goblin Town, folks.
Yeah, just hire some minions, run around yelling chungo everywhere.
Yeah, we're actually hiring a whole street team, including the same actors from that Goblin Town NFT NYC viral clip.
Fantastic.
We have to bring that up. Hold on.
It's so cringe. It's so cringe, bro. But look, right now we are giving away 5 of the full week multi-passes for Web3 Denver. And I'm throwing in one of my own personal rare Chungos to this giveaway. So if you want to take a rare Chungo out of my bag, this giveaway is live at the website, w3b3.life. If you scroll down, get in on the giveaway.
He raised them himself, beloved audience, from a wee little Chungo into the rare Chungo that he is now. GIF breaded him.
Yeah.
All right, I've got the video here. I'm going to leave it up to the audience. I'm going to leave it up to the community. Do you want me to press play on this video? And
no, but you should. But like, I this is so cringe to me. It's so hard to watch. But yes, let's run the tape.
I'm going to leave it up. If the community says we watch it, we'll watch it. Otherwise, we're going to leave that in the abyss. Asmodai, regional time of day to you. Mike is saying if they put some kind of utility together, I could see it popping. I'm guessing Chungo. He's talking about Chungos, but the other topic for today is going to be Blur. Biggie, we talked a little bit about Blur yesterday. I need to actually check and see if I have any Blur. I know it's a little bit late. But I did do some trades on the platform. I don't know how much I would get. I'd be one of those. You're muted.
Now's a better time to do it than when I did it. The gas was super high yesterday claiming, and then I knew in my head, like I knew it's probably going to go up a little bit from here, but I didn't wait long enough. I was like, so around like 70, 80 cents, like 75 cents maybe. My friends who are actually in it did that. But yeah, like now it's gone up to like almost $1. So like I know you would never do this as a US citizen, but like Q, if you were going to check, what could be possible if you weren't a US citizen, now's a better time than when some other people I know might have done that.
All true things. Biggie, did you not claim? What's going on here?
I did not claim. But I have many friends that did, and I heard it was good. Heard it was good to wait till gas was a little low. You can say GIF.
Bro, I'm just saying, scrub that Twitter, bro. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, dude,
scrub that Twitter.
Squeaky clean, right? Yeah, it was just, from what I heard, a seamless process. and they had like a little pre-show before you were able to claim, which I thought was pretty smart, and how they try to kind of get you to hold on to your tokens and not just dump them in the open market, because there will be more to come down the pipe, which is, I don't know.
They're really going with the Spotify treatment. The Spotify, what is it called? The year recap or like annual recap? Like,
yeah,
what's that called? That's
Yeah,
what they
yeah.
did with this. They packaged it up in a really engaging, entertaining sort of way. And I do think that's really smart. It's like, you create that story, you create that attachment to it, or that different feeling of like going through that process and that journey and like creating more meaning around it. I think it's really smart how they're doing this. Again, whoever, like the Blur team clearly knows what the fuck they're doing. And that's why
Paradigm Fund is a large VC fund, just like Gigabrain dudes. I think they have a lot to do with what's happening as well.
They already have $1 billion valuation. So
yeah, well, okay, we'll get to Blur here in just a second. That's part of our main topic for the day. The other main topic of the day, OTHERDEEDS is pumping as well, so we're going to have a little bit of the Yuga Lab show. But we also have to touch on the quick news and whatever these guys want to talk about. You want to see us play this video, so I guess we have to play it. This, again, if no one... this marked the top for me. This was the Goblin Town live event. They hired some actors to be Goblin Towns, I guess. So, yeah, see you on the other side.
I think that was hilarious. I enjoyed them a ton, dude. Like, man, there were some people trying to get them to break character. I saw some people that are really good at, like, telling some good jokes.
You were there,
comments.
So Biggie, you were at that event.
Yeah, they were all over the place. I wasn't at that particular event, but yeah, I was at NFT NYC when all that went down, and like I literally.
Did you get a photo?
No, I did not, man. I'm so bad at that, like thinking of pulling out the camera when it's time. But honestly, like, I was just admiring the actors that like refused to break character no matter the cost.
They had a job.
Yeah, man, and they took it seriously. So they must have gotten paid really well. And to me, like, whether this is where Goblins Down started going down, it did endear them to me to a point where it's like, okay, like, they are a community apparently. I don't know. I thought it was very smart. I think more projects could do by taking note of what they did. It was really, I don't know, a novel way. I hadn't seen it. I hadn't seen anybody else do that, right? Like a way to engage all these different communities. And it was smart too, because they were mobile. Like, they could go to every different event. Like, I met them at like getting into the proof event, right? And like, we had a line because there were some issues with the ticketing. So they kept us entertained. We were laughing our ass off trying to get them to break character. And honestly, like, by the end of that line, I was like, damn, that was kind of fun. Like, that was hilarious. Like, I don't have a goblin, but right on, So Chungos could take some notes, Gif. You should tell him.
On what not to do? Or like, what do you mean? Is Biggie's audio great breaking up? Or is that just me?
I think Biggie's audio is breaking up there. All right, we're going to go into the NFT bag check here while Biggie gets the audio. Biggie, are you there? No, it's
you're in the matrix, my guy.
You just exit and come back. You'll be completely fine.
Maybe I should just like make noise while he moves his mouth, and we'll just pretend like I'm filling in for him. All right, NFTGO Bag Check. Is that
we're about to hit it. Cam Taylor says GM Marty McFly, the new Marty, is in the house, but we have an NFT bag check to get to as well. So we are going to get here into the market overview of NFTs before we get into the collection piece. All right, a big jump here in blue chips as it's related to how it looks against ETH, also in USD, of course. So if we're doing good against ETH, we're probably doing good against USD. That's a good little pop here to start the 15th, kind of erasing all of the losses you see, or at least the market cap index over the past 7 days. We have a market cap and volume. We see a ton.
What do we think
of
that is?
today.
Is that the other side?
I think it's
primarily?
OTHERDEEDS. Yeah, I think it's OTHERDEEDS.
Other deeds.
Yeah, we can hop into it in just a sec. But I do think that volume is probably OTHERDEEDS. We're there in ETH. USD is going to look about the same. Let's see. Holders steadily increasing. Traders kind of crowding out there. And collection distribution. Let's look at this for the last 7 days and maybe 24 hours. So collection distribution, OTHERDEEDS again taking up that 8.5. So there it is. Let's look at it for the past 24 hours. You can see what it is. So 15% of that big jump is going to be OTHERDEEDS. Bored Apes 7%. Mutants, Azuki making the list. Pudgies, Moonbirds, and a kid called Beast. So Mike, your call there is still hitting pretty heavy. Over the last 7 days, about the same. I think Clonex, taking up that spot. And then Checks. Checks have a burning mechanism here that we haven't really talked about. I don't know if we want to get into that, but that is what we're getting here today. Let me go into the marketplaces. Blur, obviously, is a big topic for today. I'm going to switch on our handy-dandy wash trade filters here. And over the last 7 days, it looks like OpenSea's taking the top spot with Blur coming in second there. All right, Biggie, we're going to check you out, man. How you doing?
I hear you loud and clear. How am I coming in?
You're coming through good, man. You're coming through good. All right, so obviously the volume increasing over the last 24 hours. A lot of that having to be OTHERDEEDS. I checked in on OTHERDEEDS, and there's a lot of big whales buying in as well. So we can kind of see the price and sales, this volume increase here, and I see a lot of Makai Big Brother buying here. Who is a large holder, large whale in the space, mostly in the Yuga ecosystem. But yeah, big pop here over the last 24 hours. I don't think we got anything from the other side. I don't think we've seen one tweet from them about any announcement for the other side.
I think people are all expecting something to come very soon, though. I mean, look, the licking the toad or whatever has to be a trip, right? They've been teasing the second trip forever.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, it's just tough.
And they did tease it out. They said Other Side Legends of the Mara standalone 2D experience powered by ApeCoin.
That was after the second trip.
After the second trip. But again, they've said the second trip is coming. Come on, it's got to be imminent. Like, today's supposed to be the day that we have our scores on the Dookie Dashes confirmed. So yeah,
that's the only confirmed timeline piece. Because if you're getting the Legends of the Morrow post, why didn't OTHERDEEDS pump when that announcement actually dropped? That would be my only thing of like, why is everybody buying Other Side land right now? So
some insider trading, so people know some stuff.
Hey, Biggie, Gary V is now following GIF. The world is complete.
Yeah, full circle, man.
I mean, it was bound to happen eventually. You know what I'm saying? But big news waking up to that notification on Twitter. Just saying, Gary,
let him on the show.
If you're watching this,
he's
big
watching
love to you. Big love, Gary. We appreciate you, and happy to have you as a follow on the Twitters.
All right, we are getting into the rest of the news here. I do have one piece of quick news. Actually, I have a couple, but I have the one story that I want to start out with. Biggie, I haven't gotten your take here, but we talked about it a bunch on the GM Web3 Morning Show. So if the community wants to get involved in this one, please do so. We have the SEC. We have basically the regulators coming down on Kraken and coming down on Coinbase and coming down on Paxos and basically just laying the hammer across the board. So what you see here on the screen is Kraken shutting down their kind of staking as a service for their platform. They also had to pay a hefty fine of, I believe, $40 million. So across the board,
30 mil.
30 mil. So across the board, what you're seeing is the SEC saying, or our regulators, I'm sure there's a bunch that are circling, saying we're going to, kind of crack down a little bit on on crypto this month. Any takes on that, and we can kind of get into the details of the Kraken Paxos Coinbase. I know they went kind of a shotgun approach this month.
I think we saw this coming, right? I think there's been several people that have been giving us warning signs about this eventually coming down the pipe, right? And I think it is pretty simple in the sense that it's the government trying to wrap its claws around particular protocols assets and ban other ones, right? Why? Because they either want to make their own central bank digital currency reign supreme, or they will eventually govern over one that is already successful and playing by the book, which I would suspect is USDC, right? Either way, I think that this is the epitome of shooting yourself in the foot. And I don't know, like the only thing you're really doing is, getting all the builders and the people that are the creatives in this space to start thinking about bailing on this country. I'll just leave it at that for now. But I mean, I think that is what you're doing. You're basically, causing a mass exodus of innovation in this country to go elsewhere, where regulation is more fair and clear, and where you can operate and work on what you're passionate about. It's unfortunate that this is the route they're trying to take, and obviously the agenda is the dollar that must reign supreme, continue to reign supreme. We must be able to continue to print money and indebt our entire fucking future generations with debt. But for now, I don't know. It's sad, dude. I'm very passionate about this subject, so I'm trying to hold back.
Yeah, let it out.
But honestly, yeah. I mean, personally, myself, the way I feel about it, if you're a builder in this space, if you haven't started your company and you want to build in this space, I would seriously be giving thought about moving anywhere else.
Gif, you were
Starting
asking,
there.
yeah, you were asking.
Stay away
basically
from
the
this country.
fallout, essentially of what these rules are, and I like the comments that are coming through because they're basically like looking at this in somewhat of a positive light. Like we needed rules and guidelines and maybe some kind of events to happen to show us the way forward. Maybe this is that, but the fallout, like Biggie's saying, is people will move out of this country. Builders will move out of this country. They will go offshore, and we will, essentially be left to pick up the pieces. So they're acting like sheriffs in the Wild West. We use that analogy a lot. They're acting like there are no rules out here. The only rule is that I'm the big boss. So I'm gonna call staking whatever it is to me. And
but not only that,
security.
and I'm gonna pick my friends and buddies, right?
That's
and
right,
anything that I can, regulate and bring the ban hammer and threaten with my laws, to come into the fold. And anything that is not developed in this country or that is not something that I can instantly ban, then you're the bad guy.
Yeah, I like that analogy a lot because I mean, let's be honest, the Wild West analogy is great for what we're going through and what we're pioneering in, and I think definitely acting like sheriffs that have very very little sort of explicit rules or guidelines other than just enforce the way that you feel like is best for your own interests and the people that you care about, your stakeholders, which are the Fed, the government, the dollar, the existing powers that be. I think I like that analogy a lot. And to use another, stilted metaphor, does seem like they're circling the wagons a little bit and trying to fend off and protect what they have. And that's, their monopoly on a lot of different things rather than, again, see the potential to innovate and allow USDC to become the sort of like predominant or dominant stablecoin globally through its use in other applications and protocols. And that could be a big misstep. I think what everybody's saying here and what Biggie is saying is that, like, if they come at this in a way that is short-sighted and just a sort of sheriff-like protective way of how do we maximize and maintain our control over everything, to the detriment of innovation and more friendly policies towards businesses and entrepreneurs, then this could end up being a massive misstep, and you lose out on a lot of that potential. So yeah, I don't know. It all remains to be seen, right? It's like, you know, somebody was saying that this Kraken, like, was it a fine of $30 million is a slap on the hand. But if they're also making them shut down their staking, like, I don't know, that feels like a pretty serious slap to me. And again, then the implications of what that means for them to now use this as justification to send out a bunch of sort of cease and desists and, you know, make a bigger, more sweeping pass, you know, a more aggressive play at the space writ large. You know, we'll see what it does. It does kind of seem like they're just trying to position themselves to control the thing as much as possible, which isn't surprising.
Yeah. I feel like we should only make like Wild West analogies first of all on this show. Like, they're the best. We're talking circling the wagons. We're talking going out west, mining for gold, picks and shovels.
Pioneering.
Like, I just love. Yeah, let's just stay in that environment and let's just work with that. Them shutting down Libra when Mark Zuckerberg thought he was like bigger than the government and bigger, like was going to create his own kind of like global currency. It makes sense. Like, we were talking about this again on GM Web3. That was a basket of multiple currencies. It actually devalues USD. It was part of that. It was a strong percentage, but it also propped up the Chinese yuan and the yen and the ruble and all these different baskets. Them shutting down USD stablecoins feels like they're shooting themselves in the foot to me, because what you're getting across the world macro economics wise is that the US dollar is fading in value over what it's been since 1940. What you can have with all these stable coins and the proliferation of BUSD, USDT, USDC is back to the strength of the US dollar. Like, it at the end of the day, it's denominated in the US dollar. Like, not the ruble, not the, you know, yuan or anything like that. It's a strength to have that amount of liquidity around the world being traded in US dollar.
And it's by choice.
They don't see it that way.
And it's by choice. You know, people choose to go to USDT and USDC. The problem here is the approaches that's being taken is very much like Apple's. It's a closed garden and we own it, as opposed to open source. And they're right to be threatened, right? Like, let's not get this twisted. Like, since 2008, 2009, when Bitcoin was launched, it's war. Like, that's what Satoshi meant with this. Like, it's David versus Goliath, and they are very much aware of this fact, right? The problem is you can't put the genie back in the bottle, and the builders in this space and the technology that has enabled algorithmic stable coins is just going to get more and more refined until, you know, people will have other choices, right? You will not be able to landlock them into the USDC. You should enable it so much so the way it has been so far, like what you're saying, Q, is that where people choose that as their primary stable coin, which has been the case this whole time. It's nuts to me that they're taking this approach, because you're just incentivizing people to, one, have this bad taste in the mouth about, you know, the banking cartels and the government and the USD stablecoins. And I mean, there are people that are very happy about this, right? Because it will justify the existence of alternative assets or stablecoins down the line. And it's not the way to keep your customers happy, right? Or to retain them, right? You want to enable it to proliferate over all apps, to reign supreme, to be the one choice. And it has been this whole time. That's exactly what it has been. But
well, since World War II, right?
I don't see it that way.
But so I think Marty is, you know, making hot points over here, saying we call ETH magic internet money, but the dollar is just as fictional. And you could even, what's crazy about that is you could really make an argument that the dollar is even more fictional in certain ways. If they can just print as much as they want whenever they want, basically, and dilute it and manipulate it as much as they desire with no sort of checks on what that looks like. Like ETH is deflationary now. It's ultrasound and it runs by code. Nobody can just decide I'm creating more ETH because I want more ETH. It can't be as easily manipulated as something like the dollar even. So it's, that's a really interesting point, Marty, to be honest, when you put it into a certain context. And then, yeah, Don R talking about like not trying to be all negative on it. And, we all love our country here, let's be clear. But there is a lot of shady stuff going on. And I hate to go too far down this rabbit hole, but stuff that's happening in Ohio right now is also really shocking, because it seems like there's been a lot of sort of cover up or not covering that because of the Norfolk like train company, what is it? The Norfolk Railroad, the pipelines that are behind all of that. It doesn't seem to be getting enough coverage on the mainstream media. And also the government is telling citizens that it's all right and it's not a big deal, when like this could actually be one of the biggest natural disasters that we've ever seen in this country, and that there's cancer causing chemicals in their soil and in their water now. Like, yeah, again, I think it's still early in how that story is developing, but it doesn't seem like there's a lot of transparency or honesty with how that's being handled right now. And that's scary. That's the type of scary shit that when Marty wants to get all tinfoil and sometimes he goes a little bit far out there, it's like, there are real conspiracies and there are real shady shit that the government does do. Like you can go back to the history of things like MK Ultra or whatever that shit was. There's a whole.
They're gonna get shut down just for speaking their name on YouTube.
Yeah.
Hey, I want to bring this just a little bit back. I do think that there is like this ominous feel right now with what's going on in the US. I agree with that. I want to bring this back to like what this means for Web3, crypto, NFTs, all that stuff. Obviously, like them setting this precedent with Kraken as a staking as a service, does that actually impact staking on other proof of stake platforms? Is staking your ETH into Rocket Pool a security? Is that going to target Rocket Pool now and other maybe more decentralized companies? And when I say decentralized companies, I mean companies not in the US, companies that have DAOs, all these different things. So I think there's like more of the crypto kind of conversation we can have. The other one thing I will add is like I think Brian Armstrong from Coinbase is speaking about it really effectively here. He said on February 8th, I pulled up that tweet that says, we think that the SEC is going to come out and ban staking as a service. It ended up happening about 2 days ago. So this stuff kind of came to fruition. They also said that they're going to fight it. So Coinbase is actually effectively going to take the defense here and say, hey, we're not going to shut down our staking service just because you did this with Kraken. So there are some people fighting.
It's really good. We need more of that. And unfortunately, there's only so many people in the space that have the resources to fight these big legal battles for us. So we're very dependent on a short list of people to be leading creating these precedents and standing up for crypto interests, right? And again, this is why Yuga, like we talk about this a lot. This is why Yuga is so important to the space. They are literally one of the only companies in the entire NFT world that has the resources to go to bat to fight regulatory, legal battles and shit like that. And we need them to be winning. We need them to set good precedents, favorable precedents for the space. Just like Coinbase. Like we need Coinbase to do well here. Whether you like Coinbase or not, you should be rooting for them in this situation, because if it comes out that all staking is like illegal or whatever, or whatever they want to try and say, if there's a legal definition and a big L in the courts that sets a precedent that staking is somehow some nefarious securities fraud or some shit, like that's very bad for everybody.
This is why we got so and this is not something that came into the conversation on GM Web3 Morning Show, but it's why we got so upset with the Sam Bankman-Fried stuff. Because SBF, in a way, and there were conspiracy theorists saying he was a
played us like
right?
a fiddle.
He was a plant so that they can come in afterwards and do all the shit they're doing now. Because I'm sure that's the guys that they have right now. It's like, let's protect all these investors from SBF by going after staking, which has the effect of like actually securing crypto networks, right? Like,
I mean,
these we cannot run these networks without nodes on proof of stake and miners on proof of work. Bitcoin would literally not exist. They're trying to say those things are securities now.
I think the thing that'll really prove out is like what happens to him. Is he in the next year or so going to be a free man, or does he end up in prison doing real time? That'll say a lot to me. Because if he ends up being a free man or just getting off, with a slap on the wrist or something, then I would not be surprised at all. Because what he achieved of getting to the level of he did in such a short amount of time and getting to a fucking, I think it was like a $35 billion valuation and being like the poster boy of this effective altruist, like, dude, doing that as a young kid is literally almost impossible without having a ton of people fucking backing you. And so again, I actually wouldn't be surprised if there was some other ulterior motives or weird, shady support for what he was doing. But again, I think it'll say a lot to pay attention to where his story ends up in the next year or two.
Well, I think it's clear already that the signs point to a lot more lenient and agreeable situation for him than a bad one, right? I mean, they already, it's like, don't be surprised. There is a track record there for Skrellies and all this other stuff. Of course, Madoff is there too, but I don't know. Just by seeing the way things are playing out, I will not be surprised if this man gets away with a pretty light sentence.
Gif, I've got your tweet pulled up here, and I think we can continue to have this discussion, and then kind of, obviously segue it into Blur. Like, Blur is the topic for today. There was a big airdrop. People were being like, "What do I do? Can I claim this? Is it going to make me?" I think was Andy using the term money transmitter or
wire fraud?
Wire fraud. So like transmit. Yeah, exactly. So that this is like pervasive now, right? And I think there are some good comments here, and like at least they're kind of setting some precedent. Before it was kind of like they're just like settling with Ripple, which Ripple, if you guys aren't familiar, was like the behemoth of like 2015. Like, they're just settling with those people now. It takes these people forever. They're going after people like Bitslotto, companies like Bitslotto. Like, who the fuck? Again, getting back to the original point, there's so much gray area that people don't know what to do. They don't know how to act because no one's setting any rules. But
yeah, well, and I think the unfortunate thing about this type of thing is that, and the way that they're acting is that there will be more casualties. It'll primarily though be the people that are sort of making the biggest moves, the people that are actually trying to create generational wealth or getting close to that will probably be targeted the most, right? So like the normal person who's maybe taken down a couple $1,000s here or there, you're probably not going to be as targeted. You might be indirectly affected, or there might be some regulation that comes out that hits you. I would find it very hard to believe, given the way that the SEC and government agencies work, for them to try and target thousands or hundreds of thousands of different people for small amounts. But what they do is they will look at who are the top players, who are the people taking down millions of dollars doing these things, and then make examples of those people. And that's always been their strategy. So again, someone like a Franklin is bored, might be a little bit concerned. I don't know. Like, these people are very public in the space doing, much bigger moves.
If I want to get to your tweet real quick, but speaking of Franklin is bored, we just got a punk or NFT statistics said we all knew that Franklin's board airdrop was going straight into apes. He just bought 10 BAYCs, which could also explain the pump on that volume chart.
Yeah.
As
Well, and this is the good thing about these airdrops. Yeah, it is stimmy. It's good for the space when a lot of that goes back in, right? It creates more liquidity. It's a liquidity event, right? And that's what's happening right now with Blur. And you know what? We predicted when we were talking about what would happen after the airdrop, we predicted that they would probably do more similar incentives, because why wouldn't they? It's working so well. They clearly understand how to use these types of incentive mechanics. And hey, what did we find out? They're literally just expanding it into a new season of airdrops. So, we were right on that one too. And looks like there will be future airdrops for those that are enjoying playing this game, riding this wave. Looks like more to come, because they're saying they're going to be doubling. Of course, they've always got to keep adding more. So like it's double this time, right? It's like,
but only if you didn't sell. Only if you didn't sell.
Oh, really?
Only if you diamond handed. I'm just imagining here, postulating.
Oh, right. That'll be next time. That'll be next time.
Yeah. This next one, I'm sure it's gonna be something like that.
As someone who didn't take part in the Blur claim, I might have some. Like I said, it was great seeing it come across my timeline. Everyone's posting about season 2 in that copy pasta. I got this amount of Blur. I love seeing that. I did. Actually,
yeah,
I'm really
I could tell. I could tell. Yeah, you weren't angry at all about that. Not lazy, not feeling like a piece of shit at all. Yeah. But yeah, no. This. Oh, go ahead, Biggie. Yeah.
No, I didn't say anything.
I thought you had a question. Sorry.
So
I'm just I don't know. I'll let you guys know once I get over there. But this is exactly one of the reasons why I enjoy traveling so much and meeting people and operators in different countries, is because you get to really see the shit that they don't have to deal with, and the shit that you're able to do when you don't have to constantly be worried about getting fucked by your government in how you operate and do things, right? So I'm very much looking forward to see the space in Asia and Europe and reporting back to you guys, right? Because unfortunately, from what I see, I do see a lot of, especially with digital nomads these days, you do see a lot of people opting out of this system, right? Or at least structuring their businesses in such a way so that they are insulated from it. And again, that's brain, that's innovation and brain capital exiting this economy, this system.
And also real capital. It's brain capital, but also real capital.
Yeah.
That never gets brought up when we talk about Elon either. If Elon didn't exist, who are the big American innovators? Elon.
Mark Zuckerberg,
Bill Gates,
10 years ago,
Steve Jobs,
20 years ago.
So many of them, right? But even then, what was his partner? Zuckerberg's partner that was half Brazilian, half American. He renounced his U.S. citizenship and went to
Winklevi,
right?
The
Winklevi is the Brazilian guy. Yeah,
but the Winklevi are up there on. Now they're tech innovators. I would include them.
Okay,
but let's hit this tweet real quick. So this, we like to keep it positive. I want to give some love to one of our favorite community members. That's not the tweet. There it is. Can we pull that up and let that play? Yeah.
Yeah, I can play with all
that.
That's Hertz. So Hertz is a badass in our community. Let's check this out.
Hey. Good morning, Giff. Hope you have a great day. Hope you have a great space. Fuck. Hope you have a great everything. Let's get it. Hey. Good.
My dude's chiefing.
Hell yeah.
You're muted.
Yeah, he's an awesome dude. That's the kind of vibe that he's always bringing around. So I just want to give him some love. Shout out Hertz. He's the man. If y'all don't know him, always showing up in the community. Always got the caked apes. Always sharing the love. And he likes to do some funny videos like that from time to time. So I appreciate you, bro. Big love.
All right, we appreciate you guys tuning in today. Alpha TA saying Elon's not American, throwing the South African piece out there. I think he's an American citizen, is he not? He's not working on a green card here. I don't know.
No, he's an American citizen probably, but he probably can't ever be president like Arnold Schwarzenegger. So maybe a good thing. I don't know.
Donna R is saying fight or flight. You guys are the promise and the hope. Choose to fight.
Man,
okay, all right.
More people like you, Don. Seriously.
Okay, so this is the main topic for today that we could roll into. again, everybody was seeing the Blur posts come across their timeline. Hopefully, your friends were getting some Blur airdrops. I have the information here from the Daily Ralpha. So Ralph Quintero here said, money printer go Blur. The Blur airdrop was a talk of Web3. During the first 8 hours of the claim period, 289 million Blur was claimed from the 360 million supply, and the token is currently trading at 76. Since that time, and you can kind of see here, Blur, once it launched, it was like at $5. Got that completely, expected drop to sub $1, and it kind of bottomed out. I think, let's see if we can even find the bottom. 48 cents, 49 cents, and since has gone up to about 91 cents. So a lot of people were speculating, hey, where's the bottom for an airdrop token? You saw the same thing like we were talking about yesterday with Uniswap. Uniswap had, I think it, popped from, I couldn't even remember, $20 down to $3, then back to $18. Like it's extremely volatile. So people are really trying to time when is it okay to get back into Blur, and really it's because Blur has a large, kind of a large roadmap in future. I mean, this came out yesterday. NFT marketplace Blur set to raise at $1 billion valuation. So they got major plans off of this airdrop. So thoughts on
now,
Blur
my question
airdrop
here is like,
on
how
valuation?
what percentage of the people that were eligible to claim have claimed represents that 280 million? Because I don't think everybody has claimed yet, whether it was because of high gas prices, or they don't have a VPN, or they haven't
it's a
gotten to their
lot.
computer yet. Like, would you
It's a
say
lot
it's
because
above 50%?
no, it's above, because they have the total amount. I think there's only like 350 mil that can be claimed total, and it's already like close to 300, and that, so it's probably closer to like 80%, 75, 80% of all of it's been claimed already.
Let's check out Dune, shall we?
Let's check it out.
80. There you go. Gift
So
card.
300, yeah, duh, that's almost 90%.
All right.
Amazing.
So again,
Yeah,
that
so
was the airdrop supply. This is how much has been claimed up to this point.
and what percentage of those are U.S. citizens? That's
So now, do you guys think it'll be over $1 or under 50 cents in a week or two? Let's play that game.
I think this is a good game. I want to say I want to say over $1, and I think I'm going to take the over on this one. Surprisingly, I think it already had a massive dip already, and it's already kind of seeing that it has a bit of some interest and momentum. I think it's already available on some other marketplaces as well, and because it's on a six, like, this isn't like X2Y2. This isn't some like one-off shit just to try and pump their bag and get some people interested. They've proven a product and a product market fit here. And I think people are going to be a lot more bullish on what Blur's doing than like an X2Y2 or some of those other platforms. I'm much more bullish on what Blur's doing. And again, I'm not a fan of the 0% royalties issue. I'm not a fan of XYZ, but I can see at least that this team really knows what they're doing. They know how to create good applications, good experiences, user interface, create a unique product with that product market fit that's doing something different. I am actually kind of bullish on this. And so if you have a utility token that can continue to be interesting, it's not just like, oh, we just did this one airdrop and then what? It's like, if Blur is going to be the biggest or one of the biggest marketplaces moving forward, and there's additional airdrops, probably more utility coming for this token, that all makes me kind of bullish on this.
Okay, I'm going to show the CoinGecko market cap here, and always take into account like what the fully diluted valuation is as compared to like the current float valuation. So Blur, I don't know how much tokens in existence, like their total supply versus what's in existence, but they're sitting at 138 out of a total of obviously like thousands of different crypto tokens. But projects around that don't even come close to probably the importance of what Blur is doing competing with OpenSea.
Yeah, there's real utility. To put it simply, there's actual utility and it's like people really like the product. Like the people like Marty McFly, like people. Yeah, people that
Nem
fuck
is
with
above it.
Blur like it.
Yeah, there's a lot of there's I mean Gala Games. We talk about Compound, Nem. Yeah, that's a
Fucking
throwback.
Nem, dude. Wow. Can't
Let's see
believe it.
some others. Magic, Kava. You know, some
Cello.
that are like trailing it right behind are Kusama. Harmony is still up there. So
Wow.
yeah, I mean you could see a world where you could get a significant price increase. See Blur in what the top 50, top 75. This is not financial advice, of course, but a lot of different bets being taken in the chat as well. Big
Yeah. Right on.
Mike is saying $1.10 to $1.20. Asmodai is saying under 20 cents.
That's pessimistic, Asmodai. What did Blur ever do to you?
Let's go ahead and do this thing real quick that we got to do, just because in case it's not clear on this show. This is not financial advice, and information is found publicly on the internet. Opinions shared on this episode are solely of the Web3 team. All information is public domain. DYOR, fam. Do your own research. We're not responsible for your bags. We're just talking about shit that we think is interesting and cool.
All right, I'm bumping into the coin gecko price again. I want to take a look at how much of this market cap is based on like. Okay, let's see. Market cap is 330 mil. Current supply, so fully diluted valuation is 2.7 billion. Circulating supply. Here's what I'm looking for. So whatever this ratio is,
3 billion.
3 billion to right now they've only released 360 million. So that's a little bit over 10%. I believe. Again, I'm doing like math on the fly here. So only about 10% of the total supply or a little bit more has hit the market.
11.
That's the issue, right? Is how much of this stuff is going to be diluted by future drops and all that stuff.
And insider unlocks, right, that are going to come down the pipe.
That's what
you got to keep your eye on that.
Agreed totally. I'll take the over just because I'm an eternal optimist. Mike Erlandson saying fully diluted at 3 billion is pretty high. I wouldn't touch it. I'm not up for this risk. Marty McFly saying Blur is a boss. Put a fork in OpenSea.
Look, I mean, think of it this way.
Marty.
This is kind of how I think of it. You have right now, in my opinion, you've got two different marketplaces. The way that usually when you've got a big market or an industry or something like that, you've usually got room for 3 to 5 major competitors. Usually there's like 3 really, really big ones, and then there's a few others that are like competing on some level but not quite as big. I see Blur as being one of the 3 biggest NFT marketplaces probably for the foreseeable future, just given the success of their rollout and how well this has been. So if you, as a thesis, latch onto the idea that Blur is here to stay and will be one of the predominant NFT marketplaces in the future, which means through the ups and the downs, through the next bull run as well. And you see their innovation, how they're providing different types of experiences, different types of incentives. They're really innovating on what OpenSea's done, providing something different that has different utilities. OpenSea doesn't have a freaking token. We've talked a lot about that. OpenSea has no token, nor will they probably. So if this is the marketplace that can provide different types of tokenomics and token-based incentives through engaging and using their platform, imagine what kind of an advantage that can have in this, in this race, in this competition to be the top marketplace. And then again, what does that do for people during a bull market, which, we haven't seen yet? That could be months or a year out still. So that's how I think of it. I see them now as being really, really well set up to pioneer the whole NFT marketplace with unique incentives and rewards that has now a successful token launch. That could be big. So 3 billion fully diluted right now might seem like a lot, but what about 2 years from now?
Yeah, I'm looking at the chart now. So the questions that we were asking at least are being answered here. 12% airdrop can be claimed now. 40% of all tokens will be released in year 1, 30% year 2, 20% year 3. for a total supply there. Investors have 10% of those tokens.
Can
but
you
they're
can you
mostly locked up.
tag me or Web3 on that so I can share that? That's cool. That's a cool graphic. Useful info.
Gotcha.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, so yeah, that's one thing you should be watching, right, is the unlock periods for investors. But now, here's another thing. With a full token launch, like they've been able to pull off here, they can use those tokens that have been allocated to some community vault or some, I don't know if they're going to call it a DAO right off the bat and all that good stuff. But guess what? They now have a treasury to use to support community initiatives if they want to. You know, these are all good, positive things that you see from a token launch.
What are all the different things that you imagine a really cool, innovative NFT marketplace should be doing that OpenSea is not doing? That's what they can do now. They have a lot of opportunities open up to them because of having their own token that OpenSea cannot do. So again, in terms of differentiating and providing values that a lot of people in the space might want that they aren't getting anywhere else.
Yeah. I'm gonna show you one tweet GIF because I'm always up here trying to defend the open market economy things that Luxor has been able to do. They actually had creator royalties on this as well, on this airdrop. So it didn't matter if the creator wallet had traded Blur or whatever. It was basically due to that creator airdrop. This tweet is mentioning. Okay, so my NFT project missed out on $1,300. Or $13,000 of royalties over the last few months due to Blur's optional royalties. We received $18,000 of Blur at current price from the recent creator airdrop. So it looks like they gave some of this airdrop to collections that were being traded.
Yeah, this is interesting. I didn't know that this is how much they were getting. NFT Cutie did call out that collector holders may have been able to also claim some Blur token. If that's true, and that's not just a plant by the Blur team trying to create a narrative out there.
Why is
No,
it
if
gotta be that?
no, look, hey, I mean, look, don't put it past. Look, if you're operating in this Wild West and seeing the amount of shady marketing tactics that are used, do not put it past anybody to be creating false narratives on social media. Let's fucking be super clear about like that. If you're just believing everything you see on social media, like I've got some fucking land to sell you and spatial. Like, all right. Yeah, assuming that this is true and that this is the truth for more than just this one person, that there's actually quite a few collections out there that are actually having a value, net positive value from the airdrop, despite losing a bunch of their revenue. That's an interesting point, right? That we should talk about and try and understand more about. I still think it would be better for them to also be getting their royalties than to be, pumping Blur's bags and like. So I don't know. This is a very complicated topic, but I will say, it's again as a collection owner, if they are still making a net positive, that's something to pay attention to.
When the creator royalty discussion was happening, and I love the combos that were going back and forth. This was kind of one of the routes that we talked about, right? Like, okay, maybe they're not offering royalties because they need to compete and look better than OpenSea. They could come back on the other end and potentially offer some type of token reward. This is exactly, I think, what happened. I think what happened was they launched the token and they just gave the creators a certain amount of the percentage in this tweet more than they would have received from the initial royalty.
Yeah. But again, it's sort of at the detriment of the ethos of the artist and creator in the space still, because what you're doing is you're throwing out the standard of artist royalties for like a maybe one-time STIMMY check, right? So you're compromising the structural foundation of why artists are investing in these assets and creating in the space for Blur to look good for a one-time STIMMY check, right? So
depends if they do that in the future on round 2 and all this stuff.
Yeah, what does that look like? Again, what does that look like a year or two from now when you've missed out on much more revenue and you're not getting more STIMMY checks, right? Yeah. So it feels like, again, a short-term gamble by Blur at the detriment of the long-term support of artists and creators and their royalties.
This is I mean, overall, like we saw this with Uniswap. Biggie, I don't know if did you get the Uniswap airdrop when it first happened?
I can neither confirm or deny this.
I don't. Okay. All right. Sounds good.
Anyways, I know some people that did.
There you go.
And yeah, traditionally, I hear that it's beneficial to dump that shit within the first 2 weeks of the release of those tokens. But yeah, I recall that Uniswap airdrop claim. It's very good.
I like that you're bringing up when, although this is not financial, I think we should look at that Uniswap price, right? If you max out the chart, this is what happened with Uni. So there's the airdrop, right? So it actually went from like $7, it looks like, down to $3.
See, but this is what I'm saying. Look at this massive
ENS compared to ENS also, like
but hold on. This is interesting to look at because it's been through a bull market, right? Like, look at this massive pump that you see during a bull market. See, this is the type of shit that I could see happening with Blur, absolutely, because there's actual utility there. Because like during an NFT bull market and a crypto bull market, like, yo, the trading volume is going to be insane. It's going to be insane. And the types of like, you know, yeah, I am pretty bullish on Blur, and I could see Blur having a pump like this during the next bull market.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair. I mean, most tokens will likely go up. I think wow, we just had a lot of financial advice, not financial advice come through.
Not
so
financial advice.
That we're talking about prices, all this stuff. Last thing I'll round out, at least from my side, is this is why I push back against OpenSea so much, is because here's an example with Blur of not only from the user perspective, but from the collection perspective of sharing the value that has been accrued on this platform. It's simple as that. Like this is how Web3 should work. You create a really, really, really cool product, and you share value with the people that are on that platform, whether that be collections or users. OpenSea doesn't and has never and will never do that.
Got to reward your users for sure.
Well, it just creates a different dynamic. Like OpenSea users are rewarded, just not by OpenSea themselves. Like you're creating a cool product that they can use to buy, sell, and trade. This is more like you created value through LooksRare or through Blur, and you're providing that value back to the people that are using
I think it's interesting that you feel so strongly OpenSea will never drop a token. I'm guessing that's just because they're probably more regulated and watched, and probably they're the way that they're set up as a business. And so you might you might, but so's Blur. Like, but you might be very
first.
You might be very well correct. You might be right about that. But I do think that the interesting thing here is, again, with competition comes the need to innovate. And I think if they start to see Blur starting to overtake them and dominate them because of the additional utilities, etc., what do? They're not going to have much else to do. They're going to have to look at how do we survive? If it becomes an existential crisis for them, where OpenSea starts to dip below, 40% market share, 30% market share, or something like that.
A bunch of you guys
what do they do?
A bunch of you guys are asking to take a look at the LooksRare token, so we can max out the LooksRare token. This isn't going to look well. Yeah. Launched at a different time. So again, Uniswap was launched, I think, a year before LooksRare or something to that effect. So this was like peak bull market, right? This was in the middle of 21 or as we were getting started. So you can see right off the bat, it didn't have like a mini pump and then a huge run up. It was already just, absolutely killing it. Yeah. And then eventually had an exit liquidity pump, which usually that's what that looks like. And then it just died. Yeah. Thoughts on this one, Biggie?
Yeah. I hear people sold within 1 or 2 weeks of getting that as well. I think I don't know. Like it's very hard for me to find any justification for these tokens long term, right? Like I think Uniswap is the one that I find most people when I speak to them is like might still be holding some, and it's all around the speculation that at some point they're gonna do the revenue share vote, and everybody's gonna get rich off of that, right? But other than that, what do you get for holding Uniswap? Nothing. No, you don't get like preferential treatment or, oh yeah, fucking get to vote. Yeah, so I don't know. I same with Blur. I'm interested to see what they come up with because they've been privy to all these other tokens come before them, and I do think maybe at some point some Giga Brain will crack that nut and be able to understand like how to build a properly incentivized tokenomic scheme that's aligned with its users and that's beneficial and that actually brings utility. Yeah, Uniswap has a lot of genuine products. They're just not shared with their token holders, right? For now, all you get to do is vote. I think, I mean, yeah, if you told me which of all these tokens would you rather hold, yeah, I'd probably choose Uniswap. But in general, they just don't do really well, right? Like it's, you're just better to not, what do you call it? Taking that opportunity cost and using it elsewhere, right? That's just my 2 cents. NFA, DYOR, blah blah blah.
Yeah,
feet piss.
Yeah, there you go.
So for these tokens to survive and thrive, they have to be attached to real utility that is not like a one-off type of situation. It has to be regular, consistent use case, like something that's powerful and sticky enough that it drives that consistent returning user, right? So Blur now has an app, they have a tool set, they have this unique interface, they have all these things that people are going back to every day. They have the user base. This is why, again, I'm much more bullish on this than a lot of other tokens that have launched, is because having that regular user base coming back every day or several times a week or multiple times a day, even for a lot of traders, that just makes it incredibly valuable and makes them able to do a lot more. Most of these coins, again, to what Biggie's saying about Uniswap, I go to Uniswap maybe once a month, maybe something like that. They don't have a tool that drives me to go and engage with them every day. They've tried to release their marketplace and their aggregator and shit. I'm not using it. There's better places like OpenSea and Blur that are doing that. So yeah, I mean, having that regular, consistent user base that's showing up every day or multiple times a day, that's an incredibly powerful thing that drives value and more use cases and more applications for having a token. So,
and bringing it back, like a lot of the utility that could be the intention, whether it's revenue share or something else. I mean, it's really not, they're not able to, they're not willing to apply these things at the moment. I agree. Also because of the regulatory landscape, right? Like you have to be really, really careful when you're, giving somebody a token that's going to be liquid in the market that somebody could build a liquidity pool with, because you instantly change the whole characteristic of your project or your company, right? Like now you have something that somebody can come after you for regulatory wise, right? So I feel like when you look at projects like this, there's two types of people, right? Like the guys that are ultra conservative, like an OpenSea, that you're never going to see a token from them, period. And then you have these others that I consider to be much more innovative, creative, bold. They have the balls to actually like just try it, right? Like ApeCoin, right? Like it's like, okay, let's see what the government says, and we'll fight it if we need to go to court. We think we have a justifiable case for this token existing, and that's really what you're going through. But again, I feel like what you're really doing is just hamstringing all these projects and not with their potential value for their tokens, because they really can't deploy the actual utility for their customers or their holders because they do not have regulatory clarity. Yeah. And until they do, they're just going to be shit coins, and people are going to fucking dump them.
You're hitting on such a good point, Biggie, because OpenSea has the revenue that could lead to a sustainable ecosystem
Massive,
for ERC20. Much like Blur, like marketplaces, like a Coinbase, like an OpenSea, like a Blur, they are revenue producing companies. Only a certain amount of NFT projects can say that they are revenue producing, quote unquote. BAYC Yuga being one of them, the fact that they actually launched a token is dope. So I want to like say two things here. One, I agree with you that the regulation, all that stuff is leading to people saying, hey, we can't launch a token. Maybe a Gutter Cat Gang, for example, or a couple others. But to the other
Moonbird
point,
Sal.
Moonbirds might be a better example, because the second thing I wanted to add here is there is a future where people will launch more tokens. The problem is not a lot of NFT fucking projects make enough money to actually say, hey, we're going to launch this token that's going to have some utility. For ApeCoin, for example, all the things that their people have spent ApeCoin on. Not everybody could pull that shit off. But exchanges are one of them. It's a tough combo, man. Because I feel like people all should want to launch a token for their ecosystem, but I don't think we've seen a sustainable token for people that don't have a business model. They just think the token's the business model. Yeah. I got down a rabbit hole real quick, but
but it's true. It's all and it's all beholden to this regulatory landscape in the end, I think.
I agree. I just think that NFT projects need to show that they can consistently drive revenue. Then the token comes. You know, people try.
They have to have that app or that utility that drives that regular engagement. So many of them, they're just a PFP. It's just an IP that's not doing anything, right?
Yeah, or like voting shares on, on a company, right? Like, I mean, I woke up today and I voted for a couple of proposals on Aavegotchi. They don't have a token, but a certain amount is represented by the, sorry, the ghost. Sorry. Yeah, they do, but it's actually got a utility inside the game, right?
That's fair.
What's this floor at? What's the ghost floor at?
I would love to see the ghost. You mean the ghost price?
No, for the actual gochis, like to get one. I haven't gotten one yet.
You're sleeping, man.
Dude, I would love to see a chart.
I'm interested in it. I'm interested in it now.
What are you looking for, GIF? Let me help you. You looking for a particular look? Do you think you want season 1?
I want to find something around the floor that's that's interesting, that's cool.
All right. Well, one of the first things that I would tell you is like look at the bell curve. That you all have a little bell curve on them. Like rarity in the eyes is very important.
Rarity in the eyes.
Yeah. So like it's one of the few things that you cannot change with experience points or wearables. And so eye rarity is highly sought after.
Where's the bazaar? I need to go find a ghost. How do I get my Dude, there's so much.
Just in case so much. I had a haunt one Aavegotchi. I miss him. Marty McFly saying farm. I do have that one last question for Blur. We had like a whole discussion on Blur and where we think it's going. They said they're going to have season 2. Is there any speculation on, like somebody maybe that didn't get into season 1? My friend, not me, just some guy that I know. How does someone participate in season 2? Did we get any information from them?
I think they said something along like keep listing and trading and making offers. Keep pulling on the typical levers. Although I'm almost certain there's going to be some type of multiplier or something if you diamond handed your original allocation and you didn't sell. I don't know. It just seems like an obvious play.
This is it right here. It says Blur season 2. Season 1 was just the beginning. There's a lot more coming. Season 2 rewards have not been revealed yet, but for the next 30 days, all bidding and listing points have been doubled. So more bids, more listing, and apparently they're doubling your points until March 14th. So again, they're just going to keep spinning this up and keep it going as long as they can. And honestly, what percentage? Okay, so it looked like about 11% of the total token supply was released, and that 51% was going to go to the community. So that means that there's still about 40% of the total tokens left to be distributed, and that means, sorry, I'm trying to do really bad math here.
You notice the one thing that's missing from all of this information is the utility. Like, what are these things good for? What are we going to get for holding them? You know, no implications, nothing, no read between the lines. Just
Yeah.
So
Nothing.
Binance had a really successful token with their exchange, right? They basically had it where you could take a little bit off the fee for trading, but I don't think Luxor has any fees. So maybe.
I mean, like what I'm trying to say is, I think that there's still about four times what they've released with this airdrop left to be given out to the community total. So there's at least 3 to 4 times the amount of tokens that was just released that are still going to be given to the community. So look, again, as far as incentives to keep people playing the game and using their platform, that's a pretty powerful incentive. If you just made some bank off of this first airdrop, then you're hooked.
Ad B Freedom is saying season 2 listing, bidding, and loyalty. I think that's what Gifted was showing up there on the dashboard. So it looks like those are the primary features.
Yeah, listing and bidding.
Here's the 4-year schedule. This is let me make sure I've got this up.
Dude, so much can happen in 4 years. You're supposed to diamond hand that and miss on all the opportunity cost. I mean, I don't know. Like, it's like, please justify it, right? Like, at least tell me what I'm gonna get at the end of those 4 years. Like,
so there's that community
Chungo
distribution. Most of it's going to go to like you said, the community, but this is the total supply, and you can see that orange over time continuously releases.
All right, Biggie, how do I tell if they've got rare eyes?
Okay, so
the last question I have here, guys, is how much of these companies are revenue producing? How much of these do you think? Just shot in the dark.
Out of the top 50?
Yeah.
5% of them.
Like positive, in the black.
Like 2 or 3 of them. Yeah, it's 5%. Like maybe 3 or 4 of them. You know what I mean? Most of them are not, I don't think.
Okay.
So have you yeah.
I mean, look, Moonbirds is working on it. They're doing conferences and stuff now. They're expanding into different things. I think Moonbirds is getting into more revenue generating opportunities. That's one that I think is getting there. I think Doodles is probably not there yet, but on their way there. But other than like Yuga assets, like how many are?
That's
Nouns. Yo, if Nouns is up there, I feel like Nouns is consistent. Nouns got a model.
Yep.
All right, yeah. How do I tell, Biggie? How do I tell if the eyes are? So this is the floor. How do I tell if the eyes are rare?
You can see on the right it says energy, AGG, SPK, BRN. That's energy, aggression, brain. All those things can be moved with experience points and wearables, but eyes, eye color, and eye shape cannot. So you want that to be as far to the on both ends of the spectrum as possible. So it can be a really low number or a really high number, from 1 to 100.
Is it? It's 1 to 100. So this one would be good.
So he's 97 in eye shape, but his eye color is so. It's in the middle. So, I would say like the one above is like a 9 and a 36. That's a little more rare. And then you can go down. And also, I mean, in the end, like, I mean, that counts for something. That's like what's most prized for these Aavegotchis, because they can determine like a lot of your other stuff. But, you also want to like pick something that you like, if you're vibing with USDC, or maybe you want to be a rebel and go with a USDT Aavegotchi.
What about this one? Eyes 1, eye color 57.
So yeah,
this one.
Eyes 5. That's great. That's a great one. That's a great one right there. Big Willie. and he's a
Okay.
Bitcoin gotchi.
Big Willie.
And he's named after my own personal attributes. I like that.
Yeah, and you can change the
Okay.
name GIF, by the way. All right, like you
Why
don't
would I
have to
need
stick
why would I need to? It's
To
already
more accurately
factual.
reflect what's
It's
going
more
on.
accurate. Yeah.
to more accurately dox yourself in the Aavegotchi verse.
Mike
Like,
is
oh,
saying
there
I'm
goes Gifted, the Chungo whale. Chase after him.
Big Willie Chungo whale. That's me.
Mike is asking, I'm really interested by what Biggie is saying. Biggie, do you not think value of a token should be directly related to revenue, such as investing in stock and trade fi?
I mean,
Put on the spot.
yeah, it's definitely should be correlated. What I'm saying right now is that Uniswap is not paying any dividends, is it? Like, you're not getting any benefits from owning that token. You have to
Price
wait
appreciation.
until it's voted in and you actually start receiving those benefits. Then I'm all for it. But until now, I feel like if we look at the chart again, you've just missed on a whole bunch of opportunity costs, right? Since its last all-time highs. So why hold it? Because you get to vote, like Q said. And we already know how that goes, right? The maximum whale, the bigger whale token holders always get their way, right? Whether it's choosing what bridge they want you to use versus another one. So, I mean, I don't know if you feel like you have some interesting proposals. I'm sure there's some people that do, really take advantage of their tokens and like actually make proposals and are active in the community. There's very few of those, though, and even then, again, I would say you missed out on some profits, right? And you can buy in later once you there's more regulatory clarity, and that the possibility of revenue share or dividends or whatever you want to call them is clear and in sight and an actual possibility. Until now, it's just speculation. Same with like the Ethereum ENS domains airdrop, right? Like all of these tokens, like of course I think that their intention is for the benefit of their holders, right? And the people they awarded them to. The problem is that they cannot activate that until they have regulatory go ahead from the US government, which they do not. And so they remain shitcoins. I wonder if that makes sense to you.
Name proposal in chat as well. Big Willie Chung.
Yeah,
go.
I'm here for it. And also, first of all, there's 19 or 20 people watching this right now on YouTube, just on YouTube. I know we got some fam over there on like Twitch and where else are we? Like Facebook maybe. But if you're on YouTube right now, there's
Twitter.
only about 13 likes on this video. We need you to drop a like. Come on, help us out. Again, there's only 19 of y'all. There's definitely a handful of y'all that haven't liked this video. Smash the like. Help us get it out so more people can see what we're doing, and it means a lot. So appreciate that. And yeah, so Biggie, if I want to get my Aavegotchi, I just need to get some Polygon in my wallet, right? And then I can transact in the market.
You need to get you need some Polygon in your wallet, and then all of these are priced in Ghost. So you'll be paying in Ghost. So
there's multiple different steps, but I'm gonna try and get a Gotchi today.
Across that
it's easy and it's worth it, dude.
I'm gonna try and build that bridge across the chasm. We've been building it together, and hopefully I can make it across today.
I like that.
But yeah, why not? I mean, why not?
I refuse to cover the Paris Hilton metaverse dating whatever's happening in Sandbox. I will say that the markets look great on the CoinGecko side as well. So like Ethereum's continuing its rise, and as well as the broader market. Crypto. So we're getting a bunch of Blur related NFTs that are being that are seeing some volume as well. But we had some checks talk. We never got to really talk about the checks burnage. OTHERDEEDS is obviously pumping. We haven't gotten an announcement. I know Gifted, we were waiting on like a potential announcement that we could get. They said today was the sewer pass reveal as well. So really, that's what's happening in the market right now. I know Uints was talked about.
Uints we talked about briefly yesterday. I'm not sold on why I care about this. It feels like it's another sort of innovation or development using this idea of the open editions with a large edition number and then some kind of unique and interesting burn mechanic game. But like, I think that Nyan Cat is an example of one of these where it's like, after that initial sort of burn mechanic plays out or the game ends, like, then what? Do you really like it enough, or do enough people like it beyond that sort of, you know, that gimmick, if you want to call it that they're going to keep trading it or care about it? Like, these are just numbers. And they sold this thing as like, numbers are art. That's their whole thing. Like, buy into this because numbers are art too. And, you know, to be honest, it is a cool mechanic of like, hey, you get some different NFTs and you burn them and then create a higher number. That's interesting. But to me, it feels like a gimmick. And because I don't understand why I care about that beyond the gimmick, that's why it makes me hard to want to buy into something that's got such a high supply. It would be fascinating, you know, as an experiment, if you play it out, who knows, maybe this plays out to a point where there's only 100 numbers left, or there's only, like, they've all been bought up and combined and they all get burned. And then it gets down to like a collection of 1,000 from like, you know, 30,000 or whatever it was. You know, that becomes an interesting thing. Then it becomes like this experiment that played out in a really interesting way. Maybe that has some kind of value and people just want to have one of those high numbers that, you know, survived or was created through the process. I guess I'm like, beyond that, again, because I don't believe that it is great art, because I don't know the artist behind it, because of any of that, like, it's hard for me to want to speculate on it, even though it is very affordable right now.
Yeah, I think the gamification stuff just isn't enough to just sell a collection. Like, you can't just say because you can put these two things together.
Well, it is enough to. It clearly is enough to sell a collection, because this has been trending for the last week almost.
Some people can make it happen. Yeah,
but selling a collection, selling a collection versus maintaining interest and value in a collection long term, these are different things. Yeah, right.
We always kind of,
and that's the question with checks right now, right?
Yeah, we always kind of like reference loot, because loot was kind of like this, right? It was like, hey, we're gonna like have this what do we call it? ELM,
a gimmick,
like emergent
long fiction. ELF, emergent long fiction. Yeah,
you have to distinguish between a gimmick and like maybe a really cool feature that somebody was innovating on. It is a pretty cool idea to have the items, right, or what, the avatar or whatever, be a part of the NFT you own, and people build off of that. That's a cool idea.
This is an interesting point, right? Because we talk a lot about metas, right? And metas, typically, a new meta usually forms around a certain new innovation in the space, which is generally because of some kind of new technology or something. Somebody figures out a new mechanic. So there's usually some kind of new innovation, people, you know, flipping the script or deploying in a new way that creates a wave of new people trying out this new thing. And that becomes a new meta. Sometimes they last for a while. Again, I think the open edition meta will last a long time, and it'll go through a couple different cycles. Like, I think music open editions will probably be a big part of that. Gaming will be a big part of that at some point. So I think the larger open edition meta that's being empowered by the new technology from people like Manifold and then some of these other creators using burn mechanics, I think that will play out. And open editions as of itself is not a gimmick. But I think some of these different metas and some of these different new innovations that people try out and that catch fire and become the sort of hype cycle, some of them are gimmicky. Some of them are more gimmicks. Yeah, some of them are more gimmicks than others, right? And all that means is that it's kind of just like a cheap sales tool or marketing thing that, like, it might be kind of cool for a minute or two, but beyond that, it doesn't really provide any value or utility long term, right? And so I think that's the interesting thing about this, is that a lot of metas rely upon gimmicks. Some of them will survive long term and actually have a bigger place and mean more. I don't know that, like, this type of simple burn mechanic will create that long term value. I'm kind of saying I feel like it's more on the gimmicky side, but time will only tell, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You need to follow through for sure. You got something, Biggie?
Yeah, no, I was just thinking of. Yeah. I mean, I agree with you, Giff. It's like, you do want to come up with like interesting angles, but at the same time, you know, innovation sometimes falls on its face, right? And like, it's not enough to carry the interest forward for their holders, right? Like I think like the ultimate goal would be to get your community so involved and so bonded together that they want to continue feeding into the narrative, right? And like maybe even like developing stuff on top of it. That's where I feel like you really get the ball rolling. But it's not an easy feat to do, and we've learned that with so many projects, right?
Mhm.
People come up with amazing stories, right? Like incredible websites and like just great lore, and it's still not enough, right? Um,
All right, Justin Casey is in chat saying Paris is a resident hottie boomer. Gotta throw her some love. So you know what? And then Gifted also has a tie-in here as well. So he, this pains me, man. Like Sandbox just pains me because we've been seeing trailers like this for years. But I guess it's cool. Let me make sure I have the audio
course,
version. Hold on.
please tell me that that's Chihuahua commits suicide. I will buy it
What the
immediately.
Cool.
Mm.
Yeah.
That's honestly, it's actually even more cringe than I thought it would be. And that's hard. Like I
Yeah.
expected it to like just be kind of dumb or like cheesy or something. But I'm like, even looking at those graphics, I'm like, it doesn't even look like her. It's like a blockhead. It's like they're ugly. And like, what did you just tell me about it? What is it? What the
Nothing.
fuck is it? Is it a game? Is it a game show? How do I get involved? What am I doing? What the fuck is it?
It's the
Like
ultimate
it
reality
just seems like
show, GIF.
it just seems like they keep like the sandbox keeps doing this where it's like they're marketing a product that doesn't exist.
Yeah.
What is it? Is anybody using this? Is like
Well, it
honestly, can
looks like
somebody
she's in
tell me
Thailand or Vietnam,
it does
It's
actually?
overlooking the river,
No,
and like
that's where all the El Poros live.
I
She's on
have
her own
I see, you
Parisland.
see, and
I,
she's got her like watered like fucking like her escape vehicle over there on the right, which she's
I
gonna get
have
hop on the minute you buy her shit,
He's
leave
yeah,
pissed.
to another part of the metaverse.
that's facts. But
Oh,
the thing is
can I?
with something like this, I have more questions than answers, and they're not good questions. It
Yeah.
makes me question more and more what the fuck Sandbox is actually doing here. All right, go ahead, Q. Sorry.
No, I want to ask you this because I think it's maybe more of a debatable question. I don't think people can debate right now what is going. Apparently, Hashram is saying it's a dating service. I like Paris Hilton. I like Paris Hilton and Web3. I think she was an innovator on the reality TV show front. First of all, second of all, she's come into the space and done pretty well. She's been here than a lot of other people. She's done okay from the
I
educational
agree.
standpoint. But
I
are we saying? Here's my question: is Paris Hilton the queen of the metaverse?
no,
Is that a title that
hell
we
no.
are debating about?
The
Sandbox
metaverse
says
is
so.
dead if she's the queen of the metaverse. And having said that, like honestly, like I don't think this is Sandbox's fault as much as it is Paris Hilton because it's her name on this shit, right? Like we saw when like Snoop Dogg came out and promoted stuff, that was way better promoted than this. Like this tells you nothing, you know.
It's yeah,
And the
it's
place,
kind of
even
yeah.
just the place, does not look like a place where I would ever bump into Paris Hilton, you know.
You wouldn't go there for your first metaverse date. Like I think okay, I am very bullish on the idea of uh, dating in the metaverse. And in fact, I did share one of these tweets to one of our clips from the new Fuck You Money podcast, our first studio show, the Fuss Pod. Let's play this real quick because it's actually from the dating in the metaverse segment. Yep.
Ta-ta.
I heard somewhere that we're already, like, as a society, having less sex. There's less, like, people, less babies being made. Like, there's just, I feel like we're becoming a little bit too disconnected as a society in person. I live on the internet. I love it, but I think we need more in-person connection. So I'm a little nervous about where it's going to go. But as far as the VR headsets, I really hope Apple comes out with something cool because the reason VR hasn't been mass adopted yet is because no one wants to walk around or be seen in these big, ugly, embarrassing goggles that they have.
It's not cool.
It's not cool.
Sexy.
And until it looks like cool shades like this, or like more of a wraparound, like really futuristic, you know, shades, I don't think people are going to be wearing them.
Yeah,
I was
so
blasting the audio on that, by the way. I know it was low, but I was up all the way. I don't know what's up with that.
Quick plug for the show. If you haven't checked out the pilot, go check it out. Let us know what you think. It is live on the Web3 YouTube. That is a clip of our new co-host, Kelly Pantaleone. So shout out Kelly. You know, again, we're stoked to have more women getting involved with what we're doing at Web3, and she's super dope. So yeah, dating in the metaverse, one of the big topics that we covered on that pilot, and I am very bullish on that idea. This just doesn't feel like it to me. Like, I don't understand who's actually participating, and like, I'm genuinely curious if anybody out there listening to this, like, let us know in the comments. Are you spending any time in Sandbox ever? Is Sandbox doing anything interesting to you?
Okay, so Asmodai is bringing up a point that there are communities building and have been since the beginning up with Sandbox. I think the issue that we're finding is that they're very segmented, right? So like there's no like one conglomerate Sandbox land where everybody's going. I think that's the major issue. It's like these sub communities.
They're standalone.
They're building environments where they can interact, and that's where I think it comes off as like, is anybody there? Well, yeah, there's a ton of people there. We just don't know about the little mini community. It's, you know, there's 1,000 of these Paris Hilton type environments, is what I'm trying to say.
So then I would love then to have one of those communities come on and talk about it so we can get more info, because clearly it's a little bit of a blind spot. Asmodai is saying, you know, that they do have a bunch of them. So Asmodai, shout out to you. If you know anybody from one of these communities that is actively using, building, and Sandbox, help us get them on the show. I'd love to speak to somebody who is very bullish on Sandbox to give us that other perspective on like, what is the utility and the value that their community is getting.
Yeah, I Prodigy's in chat saying ABC123 see you on XYZ, that type of ability. Also saying we need a Sandbox Stormwind City. That's kind of what I was trying to get at. Is like with World of Warcraft, you have an area where it's like, holy shit, everybody's here. Sandbox is kind of isolated. We have had communities, and this was where I'll push back against Asmodai, because he's saying it's still an alpha. It's been an alpha for 2 years. It's just beholden to the Web3 space, Gift. That's what I'm trying to say, is like the gaming side of it is, you know, not dead, but it's taken a severe, you know, hit, and therefore Sandbox has.
Don't they need to have that big MMORPG component to it for it to really thrive, though? Because isn't that where a lot of the value comes, is like, again, that active usership of everybody? And this again seems to be what Other Side is definitely focused on building, is the ability to have thousands of people all intermingling and interacting and commercing in the same place. Yeah. Is Sandbox doing that? Is that the goal? Is that where it's going?
Okay, so just for like context, me and Crypto Buffalo, we were trying to form our network's home in Sandbox when it was first launching, and the you know, energy was high and all this stuff. And they're very mini game focused, or were at the time. Because when we went in there, we were like, hey, we want to have shows in the metaverse. We want to be able to have this show in the metaverse, have people show up, watch it from there. And they were like, we can't do that. The max amount of people you can have in an instance is like 20 to 30 people. And so it's just like, so it's more mini game focused if you think about it. Like, you can go in there and play Temple Run and have a really cool experience. It's not socially, or at the time it wasn't socially focused.
So again, to me, then this creates some kind of market opportunity of, you know, doing gamified mints or plugging into different roadmaps in different ways. But this still, to me, kind of feels like not the thing that creates that bigger long-term value, right? It feels a little bit, as far as metaverses go, a little bit more on that gimmicky side than something truly valuable long-term. Because even what Squashman's saying, like he's saying in the recent season, it held his attention for a day or two, and they just kind of over it, right? So the way that if the underpinning of this technology and the whole way it's being built is around these sort of one-off separate experiences, honestly, that doesn't make me bullish at all. Like, I think that for the metaverse to be the metaverse that matters, you've got to have a big interoperable open world. You've got to have a bunch of people in there all interacting together and wanting to come back and see their friends and do a bunch of cool shit. Like, it doesn't seem like that's what they're doing, right?
Yeah. I mean, the Web3 games that we see out now are suffering from that same thing. The cool thing about Dookie Dash was you would play it, and because of the incentive model, you wanted to come back and back and back and back and play it, even though it was a ridiculously easy to assemble mini game.
And it was tied into a global competition.
Yeah. And that's what they're trying to do. Like, Sandbox is trying to do that. They're incentivizing this stuff with Sand Token. So they're trying different things. I think they got hit specifically by the Web3 metaverse / gaming narrative going away. Like, that was their thing. They are the metaverse with gaming. That's what they're trying to do. Both of those narratives took a hit. Sandbox took a hit. So, Squash Man saying, coolest thing I've done in the Sandbox is when they have had a metaverse music festival and when Deadheads would host watch parties in their token gated theater. Again, very small amounts of time. All right, folks, we are getting up out of here. I have a couple. What's up? You got some?
No. I was just reading one of the comments, and that was good.
Who is the queen of the metaverse? That's my final question, and we'll get out of here. Who's queen of the metaverse as it stands today?
Well, I'd rather it be Betty from fucking Deadfellas and Paris fucking Hilton. I can think of a couple of people also. What's her name?
Josie?
Chase Chapman, Josie. Fucking Josie. Yes.
There's some woman influencer on Twitter that's been blowing up lately. I can't think of her name, but maybe she's getting a lot of attention and hype. But that doesn't help because I don't know her name. I did want to pull up one more time the tweet for this big Web3 Denver VIP giveaway and drop that in the chat if we can.
Yeah.
Because, yes, I just want to remind everybody, this is ongoing for the next few days. And I want to make sure everybody knows about it because we are not only giving away 5 of the full week multi-passes across both venues in all 5 days, we are also giving away this beautiful rare Chungo from my bag. So this tweet is live. It's pinned all the way through Twitter right now.
He looks like he's from Denver.
That's fast.
Dude, that looks like you. Like, if Biggie grew a beard, I feel like that looks like Biggie as a Chungo.
We're getting there.
So the Biggie Chungo is being given away, rare Chungo, straight out of my bag if you get in on this giveaway now. Yeah, other than that, one last housekeeping item. Good friend of the castle, the amazing artist, the talented Jessica Yatrofsky is actually jumping on NFT Live with us tomorrow. So I'm actually very excited about that. And she's got some big news. If y'all don't know about her OpenSea partnership, it's a big deal. And we're going to be talking more about that tomorrow. Also, apparently, she's going to bring OpenSea back on GM Web3. Maybe we can get them on NFT Live. We'll see. We'll see if we can parlay that.
That Coinbase story was crazy. The way that she went.
We're going to get into that. Yeah, she's turned that into a big W on multiple fronts. So we're going to be learning more about the big brain move that Jess made and how GM Web3 and this network actually played a big role in starting that fire, making some waves that led to this new partnership and the opportunities that she's got. So that's going to be fun to talk about tomorrow.
Prado's asking, are you talking about Art Chick GIF?
No.
Art Chick, though? No. Okay. That's the one I said looked like Biggie when you first showed your bags. I see Biggie rocking that as a PFP. Okay.
Yeah, it's a dope one.
All right. Okay.
Biggie, you are. We haven't talked about Biggie's facial hair. It's coming back. It's coming back.
Coming back. We're getting there.
I'm going full screen.
You son of a bitch.
Okay. You son of a
Great
bitch.
episode.
I'm in.
Great episode as always. Ronan, we missed you. We missed you as always.
Yeah.
Y'all made it a great environment today here on NFT Live, of course. You guys were participating, giving those nostalgic sandbox vibes. We got some NFT Live party in the sandbox talk. That was a fun time. Yeah, those were good days. All right. That is it for me, Nifty Q, your host here on NFT Live. Gifted and Biggie Poppins here every day, just getting after. We appreciate you guys so much. I'll let both of y'all have the last words, and then we'll get up out of here. We will be back again tomorrow, like Gifted says, with Jessica Yatrofsky.
I love you all. I hope you know it every day. We'll see you here tomorrow. Looking forward to it. Monsieur Gift.
Heck yeah. Hey, last show of the week tomorrow. Last shows of the week. So you know they're going to be a little wild. Thirst Trap Thursday. And we got the queen of thirst trapping. The thirst trapping queen of the kingdom coming on for Thirst Trap Thursday tomorrow. So I'm excited about that. Appreciate y'all. I'm about to go and try and cop me a gotchi. I'm going to go shopping, see if I can figure out how to cross this chasm and report back to y'all tomorrow. Hopefully
Gotchi.
I will be an Aavegotchi. It's a
There it
gotchi.
is.
Hopefully I'll go and got a gotchi by tomorrow, and we could talk more about that. That episode's doing well on the YouTubes. People fuck with the gotchis. I'm feeling
gotchi
kind of
gang.
bullish.
Dude.
I'm feeling kind of bullish on the gotchi gang. That's why I'm gonna go and try and get in on this. So that's it. Big
Ravenous
love to
gotcha
y'all.
gang.
Yo, get in on the giveaway. Web3 Denver is coming up soon. I hope y'all are getting in on this, and we'll be part of that. That's it. Our vibe, our tribe.
Our vibe, our tribe. Chungo.
Chungo.